Once upon a time, viewer, I got lucky enough to buy an Xbox One with Halo 5's disc included, and I was looking forward to the most modern iteration a couple weeks ago. You wanna know how long it took between putting disc in box and actually playing it? 10 hours. 10 fucking hours! You wanna know what I could have done with that time? Beaten Yzmat 3 times! The most egregious of Final Fantasy bosses, and it could have been muling its last multiple times over the same progress bar. What I really want to know, though, is why is this acceptable? Why has the drop of plug and play from the billing gone quietly? This is horrendous, especially since this was an attempted system seller, Microsoft. After that spectacularly awful start to the game, and the entire day I had planned to play it now down the drain, I finally get to see what all the fuss is about with it. I have no freaking clue. The plot is so flimsy that it's almost non-existent, with the only objective for the entire 5 hours being follow the leader. I'm not kidding. 343 has zero faith in its own work that the plot doesn't get an antagonist for 2/3 of its runtime, and even then the villains are straight out of a 1970s sitcom. The warden is the overprotective father who fucks up because of his duty, and Cortana is the ambitious daughter who's too big for her britches. The team's more concerned with shoving combat into your face for the next 5 hours, and I find it hilarious that 343 has changed lick 1 of its Halo 4 fighting mechanics and fixed everything by adding in the wonderful next-gen concept of online-only 4-player co-op, because who plays games with friends anymore? Here's 3 garble-mouthed moron munchers instead. Well, at least all of the swearing will give you plenty of chances to look at the detailed environments, motion capture, cutscenes, hoo-haws, whistles, and snazzle waps to prove that it's next generation shit, man. But instead, it ends up looking like a port of Halo 4. At least that game didn't have AI partners, which are the one good thing about the game, because they actually shoot at the bad guys when there are bad guys, and revive you when you tell them to revive you.
What a twist!
But holy crap-tastrophe did the writers not even try. They couldn't be bothered to write the 7 new main characters to the level of tokenism. All of them are zero-dimensional cardboard cutouts with no dialogue or character traits. That's not even the worst part. The worst part about Halo 5 is 343 is so tediously safe and reckless that they never paced out the climax, so the turnaround, where Cortana becomes a tyrannical peacekeeper, is thrown in just to sell copies of Halo 6. You failed so hard that you ended up using the game's tipping point as a cliffhanger. The exact opposite thing you're supposed to do with a frickin' climax. This second Halo trilogy is completely screwed because it has no focus. You just keep throwing plot devices up in the air and never bother to catch them. The first Halo trilogy worked because the threat of galaxy-wide extermination forced opposing sides to work together against a stark raving lunatic dividing his entire species down the middle. Bungie had the self-confidence in its own work to go balls out with every game it made, mistake or not, and it ended up making these immersive stories supported by a complex setting because they went for it. But then there's you, 343. You are so stupidly humble and submissive to your fans that all of your games come up insipid, lazy, and boring. There is no effort here to create interesting characters, advancing the plot, or even putting in a narrative. All there is just shoot all of the dudes. It's dull as driftwood. Not only that, but this boneheaded showing to tie a half-assed story to bland Call of Duty gameplay just had to have microtransactions. Honestly, if Microsoft didn't force them to be put in, it would have looked weird in this new age of AAA industry that makes me want to vomit. That's what'll make me like your game better, Microsoft, because in this game that you literally branded Xbox One exclusive, I can now buy gold-plated trading cards for $100 US. What I love about this is that because Halo 5 takes up 70 gigabytes of hard drive space, is that the industry is so rabidly pre-order hungry, it means that Microsoft is literally telling customers to throw out Halo 5 as soon as possible simply because it takes up too much hard drive space. Ultimately, Halo 5 is the proof I need to know that 343 has no idea what it's doing with Halo. throwing all of its plot devices into the air and using none, spending 3 missions to have accomplished a single task, and throughout an entire 5 hours adding nothing except the lead-in for Halo 6 and a bunch of colossal war machines reduced to glaring statues. I expect more from the Halo series no matter who the developer is, and 343 spent the entire development trying to turn Halo into Call of Duty, the exact opposite that it's supposed to be. This being one of the biggest advertisements for the Xbox One you have, Microsoft, I'm left wondering why anyone should even buy one if you can't even get this series on the right tracks. Now that we've come to the end of the video here, it's time to serve up the next project for you all, and next week it's going to be the first of the series, Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So pack up your chainsaw guns and stay tuned, but for now, enjoy the scoreboard and a final victory for gamers. Have a great week, everybody!